Hey guys, welcome to another channel update. So, I have a couple of things that are currently happening in my life, and they are pretty much affecting, well, first of all, how often I can make a video, plus my actual ability to make a Let's Play video and post it on YouTube. So I'll just run by, I guess, in an order of things. Well, actually, first of all, hi, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. Right now, a week later, a month later, a year later, whatever the time is that you're watching this video, I hope you're doing well. Okay, now I can proceed. So basically, I'll start off with the fact that you probably have noticed that today, which is Monday, May 17th, you probably have noticed that I have not posted a new episode for Vampire the Masquerade, and neither did I post anything last Wednesday. Well, first of all, because I finished the video game a week before last Wednesday. But mostly the issue is my laptop. Now, if you haven't watched my previous vlogs or update videos, then I'll just clarify that I record gameplay with a Mac by using a boot camp, and I have an external SSD that has all the Windows files and everything else. And because I have a Thunderbolt 3 port, I just plug in that SSD to my Mac and then just, on my Mac, go to settings and say boot this drive, and it boots my Windows version. And I also have a separate USB hub because I need my mouse, I need my keyboard, I need my mic. Because unfortunately, well, at least at the time when I got this laptop, which was like late 2018, early 2019, they didn't have like mouse and keyboards that use the USB 3 or I'm probably actually calling it wrong. Thunderbolt 3 is what it's actually supposed to be called. But anyway, you know, those very non-standard USB ports. Anyway, so I did not know that that Mac is especially prone to overheating. And because it's a laptop, apparently it has destroyed something with its overheating, despite the fact that, you know, I have fans set up at both of my vents so that they circulate all the hot air out and try at least get fresher, cooler air into the laptop. But anyway, apparently it didn't help much because something got screwed up in my laptop, and it overheated so much that my bottom panel of my laptop has deformed. I'm serious, it's not even closing completely. And to avoid any overheating issues, I even prepped up my Mac on one of those laptop holders so that it's not directly touching the table, so that it's elevated from the table. Specifically because it's overheating and, well, because the panel is not closing completely, you know, my laptop is no longer sitting straight on a flat surface. If you type, it jiggles a bit. So, yeah. It's kind of funny and not. But anyway, I don't use the keyboard on my actual laptop. I actually use a separate remote keyboard because the way I have set it up is that my laptop is a bit far into the table. And so avoid reaching over to my laptop, I just have a separate keyboard plugged into my USB hub. So yeah, but anyway, I shouldn't have listened to all the people in college or in my major. And by the way, I am a graphic designer and a motion graphics designer, even though I graduated with a degree in 3D animation. Funny how life works. But anyway, everyone in my college major said, oh, how Macs are great, how they're awesome for designers, motion graphics designers, 3D animators and designers, everything. I'll tell you a couple of things. That's bullshit. Don't listen to them. Macs, they're not that great. A lot of applications don't even work on Mac. They're not even natively supported on Mac, and there's a lot of issues sometimes with installing applications on Mac because of permissions. And I even had to go to terminal on my Mac in order to enable installation of applications downloaded from internet, like browsers. Can you imagine how ridiculous it is? So they kind of try to force you to use their app store, but it's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's one of the few reasons why I don't suggest that you use a Mac, because a lot of applications just are not supported on a Mac. Even video games too. So get a Windows definitely, because it's much easier to work with. Sure, the Windows may not be better than the Mac in some other regards, but it's better, at least in that point, not point of view, what's the word? In that way, I guess. It's just easy. Like if you have an issue to troubleshoot, it's just easier to find solutions for a Windows operating system than the Mac. And another issue is that Macs aren't really made for gaming. I mean, the one I have, it doesn't have the most amazing graphics card, but it was good enough, at least at that time. It was good enough for recording and gaming at the same time, so sort of. The issue is that the processor is too great to a point that because my Mac does not have sufficient cooling systems, and I assume it's probably a lot, not just Macs, there's probably a lot of computers that don't have sufficient enough cooling systems, where I'm not even able to use the full capability of my processor because it's not cooling fast enough. And I have an i9 processor, so there you go. a waste of technological resources and prowess in that regard, I guess. And stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, never get Mac, just go with normal Windows. Even better, go with a stationary computer, because it's much there's far more space between the components in a larger stationary computer, which I also imagine because of that there's probably much better air circulation and less chance to overheat nearby components, because they might be a bit spaced out more than in a laptop. In a laptop, they're all crammed in, especially Macs, because they're trying to make the laptop super thin and stuff like that. But anyway, I still suggest just use a stationary computer. Laptops are okay if you're like in college, you gotta do a lot of work, at least before COVID. you gotta do a lot of work, gotta commute to the campus all the time, and if you don't have time to use the computers, on the campus, and you need to do your homework and stuff like that, and use some heavy video processing, well, not video, but generally graphics processing and stuff like that. It's good to have your own computer for that. But anyway, Macs are just not made for heavy-duty work. I would just say they're just for people who don't do that kind of thing. I mean, they're great probably for people who do a lot of writing, who do a lot of research, internet searching, stuff like that, but nothing in the heavy processing area. For like like gaming, like recording, or just working with rendering lots of heavy duty videos or 3D graphics. No. That bad idea. Don't do what I did. Just get a normal computer. Or don't, that's actually your choice. But anyway, so because of that, and I'm ending my Mac rant, well, because of that, I'm not able to do any recording because I get terrible stutters that are very reminiscent of the ones I used to get back when I made really old, really terrible videos where where I just tried to be someone I'm not. Where I tried to make too many funny voices, and in the end, it just turned out to be more annoying than actually funny. Although some people still find them funny for some reason. I overdo them so much, it's just blah. It's just no. I keep them, just, I don't know. Let the world know of my mistakes, why not? I'm kind of ashamed, but at the same time, it is what it is. I'll just probably remake the Let's Plays at some point and make them actually, normal and better. The way I would have actually played like myself instead of being a loud, noisy brat, to put it simply. But anyway, so they're very reminiscent of those stutters. Another prominent example would be the In Verbis Virtus game that I also tried to make a Let's Play, but it was that issue, plus I never really got quite into the game for one reason or another. It was also blind Let's Play, which was a bad idea, because for me personally, it's better if I know what the game is about, so that I don't annoy anyone when I get stuck. Of course, I do still sometimes get stuck on quests or in adventure games with puzzles, but at least I kind of more or less remember quicker how to solve puzzles, because I played it before, maybe a long time ago, but I still played it at some point, so the solution is somewhere in my head, but it's buried very deeply into my subconscious somewhere. A simple way to describe it. But anyway, yeah, not able to make videos for now. That's one part of the issue. The other part, which also going to be tied to this issue actually, and I'll get into it in a second, is that we, meaning I and my family, which is my parents and my sister, we are currently in the process of trying to sell our house and move out and get a new house. The one that would be cheaper, but with maybe slightly less space than we have right now. And the issue is that our budget is very low, and the housing market is just terrible right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really great to sell right now because the property just keeps growing and growing, and I guess in value and such, well, and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of inflation. And likewise, it means you're also gonna have to buy a house just as expensive as the one you just sold. So that's the issue. Probably even more expensive than before. And another issue is that there's a lot of people leaving the big cities, or cities in general, and trying to get houses away from the cities, away from apartments, city life, stuff like that. And there's just so many people that it's very hard to even get a house because so many people make an offer within a week. We haven't made an offer yet because we're stuck in an entirely different process before even attempting to get our house open for sale. And it's called doing visual touch-ups and some renovations to make sure that the house is presentable and that everything is functional and works great, so that we don't diminish our house's value. And the problem is that because everyone works, like me, and also, by the way, because I work today as well, I couldn't get the video fast enough out. But anyway, another point why I couldn't get the update fast enough is also because we're not doing that great financially, because mine and my sister's income, we're more or less entry-level workers. I work as a graphics/motion graphics designer in a broadcasting industry, and my sister is a social worker. So you can imagine our salaries aren't doing that great, and a lot of other things that usually, how to say this, the main person who earns a lot of income is our dad for now. But the problem is that his salary got cut and even delayed a bunch of times. And the problem is that my sister's salary combined just don't pay for all the bills, for all the insurances, all the taxes, everything. It's just not enough, especially because taxes keep rising for our property as well. And we're just trying to move out somewhere cheaper, somewhere where there won't be that many taxes, which usually means either out in the country or in a town where there's no school, because that's actually why sometimes taxes would be very low, is because your town or city doesn't have a school. And because we don't have kids anywhere, I'm grown up, my sister's grown up, I'm not sure if she'll be starting her family. I'm not doing that anytime soon, so I don't really care about schools at the moment. I'll think about that down the line in the future at some point. But anyway, so we're trying to find a place with lesser taxes, cheaper property value, with slightly less space than what we have right now, and a bunch of other things, because my parents aren't young anymore, so they have a lot of issues with doing a lot of heavy yard work. And our yard is very steep, which it also has a lot of issues with water, because we're at an incline, so every time after winter the snow melts, everything is mushy and wet until somewhere in the beginning of June or mid-June all the water finally runs out and the land more or less dries up. But anyway, it makes mowing the lawn really hard, and we can't hire anyone either. We tried that at some point. The problem is that they kind of damaged the grass because there was mushy water. Ever since then we've just been doing that ourselves, mostly because for some reason they don't use the streamers in places where there's mushy, I guess because it's a lot of work and stuff like that. But anyway, we've just been doing that ourselves, but our parents are not young anymore to also help out around with that, and also everyone's busy as well. So we're also trying to find a property that's not like in the mountains, or if it's in the mountains, that it doesn't have a steep yard incline somewhere, so that at least mowing the lawn and plowing the snow is easier. Also because we have a steep driveway, so winter is also tough when we get heavy snowfalls, because we have to go out and clean everything. And sometimes it's icy, so we can't even drive all the way up the driveway to park. We had to, on a couple of occasions, we had to leave our cars at the very bottom of the driveway and just walk carefully through ice and snow up to our house. But anyway, so there's a lot of issues, basically, that maybe it's for the best that we're actually moving out now, on one hand. On the other, it's good because it means we can sell our house for more value than we originally bought it, but getting the other house is going to be very difficult, also because of competition. But anyway, because of these financial issues and because we're moving out, I still made the decision to get a new computer for a couple of things. Well, one, but not really the main reason, is obviously, Let's Plays and stuff like that, even though it's my hobby. But the main reason I actually need to get a new computer is because I'm actually very anxious about what if we end up moving out so far away that I won't be able to commute to my work anymore. Because believe it or not, I'm actually not working remotely most of the time. I actually have to get my butt to the office and work every day, early morning till actually around 3 at least. But you can imagine how early I have to get up to actually have my work day end at 3. But anyway, and commuting takes a while anyway, for like 40 minutes to an hour. And if we end up living all the way far away from the workplace, I'm not exactly positive how much they'll allow me to work remotely. I mean, I'm completely confident that I can, because design is design. No one ever asks me much or disturbs me much. We always communicate everything online anyway. So it's not like making much of a difference for me, but they might have an issue because there's always like policies about file storage and stuff like that in every company, and no one really wants you to store company files or some other files on your personal computer, so a lot of issues basically. So because of that, I'm not sure if I'll have to find a new job that might be remote if we end up living in the country, which is most definitely what's going to happen. We're probably going to move out into a more countryside than we are right now. And believe me, right now we're also somewhat in the countryside because we get so much wildlife. We get deer, we get coyotes, there's even bears, although I haven't seen them, but we have this large grassy bush that apparently has been like the nest of one of the bears a couple of times this year, past year. And you can tell because all the grass is bent like someone was lying on top of it. We also get groundhogs, which this year and last year they've been digging a hole in our backyard, which is funny. We get foxes, turkeys, all sorts of wildlife, all sorts of wildlife. But imagine that, but except even more in the country where your neighbors is probably a little bit further apart from you. It's probably like that kind of country. I'm not sure if it's going to be in my current state, which is the state of Connecticut, or if it's going to be an entirely different state. I'm not really sure about that. But anyway, with all those things considered, if I'll be working remotely, I actually need a good computer that can handle 3D processing, motion graphics, because that also eats up a lot of power, a lot of RAM, a lot of processing. Having a good video card is also more or less helpful with rendering. I noticed, at least on my work computers. But anyway, so it's mostly that I'm a little bit worried that I might have to find a different job. So getting a computer now might actually be a great idea either way. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to completely go remote and might actually do something that I like doing more, because I'll be honest with you, I don't really like working for broadcasting or advertising industry. I kind of actually wanted to be working in the video game design field, except, I don't actually know anything about programming, so, I just gotta do what I gotta do to pay my bills. But anyway, I guess time will show with everything in that regard. I'm not really as anxious as I probably should be, but it is what it is. We'll get through it eventually. We always get through stuff eventually. That's how life is. But anyway, so yeah, so I am getting a new computer, but the issue is that the new computer is going to arrive somewhere in mid-June. Hopefully in mid-June. I don't know if there's going to be any delays in the delivery and stuff like that. Hopefully everything's going to be fine. It's going to arrive on time. And I doubt we'll be able to move out by mid-June. I'll be honest, because we'll try to do as much renovations as possible. Ourselves, that is. Because obviously we're not doing too great financially, so we do everything what we can ourselves. Like painting, for example, my sister and I, we painted our bathroom because we had to do some speckling. There were some holes from some of the previous, what do you call them, like towel dryers and such. And, obviously gotta patch them up and paint them over. So we had to paint the bathroom over. Also because it was pretty much due time, we never painted ever since we got this house, like in 2016, I think. It was like the end of summer too. But anyway, we didn't really paint much or renovate it much since we bought the house at all. Mostly replaced, functional stuff like a boiler in the basement because it broke. Obvious things like that, because something breaks that's essential to the house and stuff like that. So yeah. But anyway, there's just so much touch-ups to do, so much beautification to do to make sure that the house is presentable, it's sellable, and the fact that to make sure that everything works. You know, that all the electricity everywhere is all right, that all of the water, you know, it's working properly, you know, all the tech, like, I don't know, the fridge, the microwave, like, literally everything. Just gotta make sure that everything is functional, everything is in good condition, and that everything looks proper, presentable, and appealing as well. So, and that obviously takes a lot of time because everyone's working, and you can't really do as much when you come after work because, you know, you need some time to recuperate from work before you can actually go and do something. So most of the time we end up spending the weekends on renovating and trying to do as much as we can during the weekdays. But anyway, yeah, so that is also the issue that might be problematic, but because my computer is kind of, you know, going out of commission, I think we might actually be finished by mid-June with the renovations, although we'll still have to move out all the excess junk all over the house into boxes and probably into some storage or in the basement, I don't know. But yeah, basically it's all of that. But after that, it's gonna be more or less good to go until if we find a house, or rather not if, when we find a house. I'm not gonna be able to record anything when we're gonna be moving, so there's that as well. So yeah, I think that's about sums up everything. You know, I mean, it's difficult times for a lot of people right now, for everyone. Regardless in which part of the world you live in, it's kind of bad everywhere. But, you know, life has its ups and downs, and, you know, you just have to get through you just have to, you know, do what you can to get through the tougher parts, through the tougher curves. You know, do whatever you can that's in your power, and stuff like that. I'm not explaining it as efficiently as I should, I realize, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just not... Like, it's stressful because there's so much renovation, so much work to do, and you're tired, and blah, 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 and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Nothing you can really, do about it because, you know, all these things are already happening, so what's the point of crying over spilled milk, right? But anyway, guys, I hope I'll be back as soon as I set up the new computer, because it means I'll have to migrate all of my Vampire the Masquerade saves, and also OBS, because I have all the settings on it and stuff like that, but I hope it's not going to be too much of an issue with that. I think it should more or less go smoothly. I just gotta prep everything for that when it does come. And I'll also be able to start a new Let's Play of an adventure game that's kind of like a mixture between like some of the Telltale games, but also like some of the adventure puzzle games. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but you'll find out when I do get the computer and set everything up. I think you'll like the game. It's you know, it's one of those games, the one that I want to do Let's Play of, that I haven't really found anything that I actually like on YouTube regarding Let's Plays for that game, so I kind of wanted to make my own version instead. And also, it's the type of game with which you can just relax, you know, drink tea or coffee or whatever you want. It could be, I don't know, milk chocolate, for example. I prefer if you drink tea because it's actually healthier for you. especially herbal teas like chamomile, calendula, everything, mint, whatever. Anyway, well, also obviously everything in balance. Don't overdrink, don't overeat specific foods. You have to obviously keep everything balanced. But anyway, it's a type of game that's very relaxing, very soothing. It also has great puns, so much puns. You can die from the amount of puns it has. And I love puns, you know me. And I'm also really bad at making puns. You also know that. Especially making bad puns and stuff like that. But anyway, I really hope you'll actually like the game. And if you didn't know that game, I hope you'll be at least pleasantly surprised. Maybe slightly pleasantly surprised. Obviously, it's going to depend highly on each person's tastes and stuff like that, because some people like more action games, RPG games. Others might like more adventure games that are like more into puzzles and I guess a little bit more in-depth character build-up and story build-up, because those games tend to be a bit better with that than RPGs, to be honest, and stuff like that. And the good news, at least with Vampire the Masquerade, is that we're kind of halfway through the game, so it's not gonna be too late till I actually finish the game. And after that, I wanted to do a different video game that I'm trying to finish right now, despite all of my computer stutters, which also, by the way, happen off the camera. It's annoying, but I do want to finish it so that I know what I'm doing for the Let's Play that will come after Vampire the Masquerade. And it's a game that I have tried to play multiple times, but but for one reason or another, I just kind of drop it and then just do something else entirely. It happens to me a lot, usually with some of the RPG games, like Skyrim and Oblivion, for instance. Oblivion less than Skyrim, to be honest. With Skyrim, I'm just not quite in love with everything in it, to be honest. Sure, the graphics are nice, but everything else kind of disappoints me. Maybe if I try to play this mod for Skyrim, I forgot what it's called. It's an entirely standalone game for Skyrim, essentially, which is not set in the Elder Scrolls universe, but it uses every asset from the game. Enderal, I think it's called. I do want to try to play that to its completion and see if I actually like it more, and if I do want to make a Let's Play of it, because I think that might be something interesting. At least based on some Let's Plays. I haven't seen completely, but the beginnings of some Let's Plays I've seen, it looked very interesting and kind of disturbing in the beginning. In the very beginning. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen at least the first episode of the game. But yeah, I do want to try that one as well. Also because it feels like the developers, the mod developers, tried to implement a better RPG system than what was originally designed in Skyrim, which I do want to test it out and see how much of it I like and how much of it is balanced and fleshed out, and how does it work together or come together. I'm very curious about it. So, and also how did they try to implement the other aspects like side quests, the main story? What is it actually all about, you know? I do want to see all of that eventually, but I'll have to play the game first for myself, probably. But for now, that's not gonna happen because, you know, the game I'm currently playing is a bit less heavy in graphics than Skyrim, and if that game is stuttering like crazy, well, on occasions like crazy, I'm pretty sure Skyrim would full on stutter like mad, like the mad god Sheogorath. except he doesn't stutter, but maybe his brain stutters somewhere because he's kind of insane. Well, actually, he's pretty insane and stuff like that. And pretty much, yeah. But anyway, so there's a bunch of things I do want to do. I want to try out and stuff like that. And I definitely want to try out at some points play Dragon Age Origins, which I never actually played. Only through the very beginning as, I think I chose an elf character for that one. And I think it was like an elf ranger / rogue of like a common folk of common folk origin, which basically means my elf is living in a slums somewhere. At least according to the video game, that's what it means, essentially. Although I might be not recalling correctly, but it's been a while. Maybe one of you will correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I last touched the game and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I do also eventually want to play that game completely past the tutorial area, which I did finish, and see if I actually like it or not. Because some of the dialogue actually seemed interesting, but I'm not sure how much I'm actually in love with the combat system and stuff like that. Because it seems to be like a mix between real-time and not real-time. Because you can freeze time and set certain commands for attack, but at the same time, I feel like they're a bit weird in the way they work. I don't know. We'll see about it. We'll see about it. I do know that I'm not a fan of D&D type styled games. And what I mean by that is, I don't know why, but I just don't like the universe of D&D. Like, I like Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. Scratch that. I love both games. Not as much as Gothic, though. Gothic, it's still the best for me. I love Gothic more than anything else. That's just me. That's my guilty pleasure game, I guess. But anyway. But, I just never got into the D&D universe, the D&D games. I don't know, I just never felt... Just for some reason, like, a lot of the quests or dialogues, it just don't feel quite as real to me. I kind of feel maybe a little too staged, maybe a little too player-centric, I guess. Like, I always compare a lot of, like, RPG games to Gothic and how they designed the dialogue and especially how you start certain quests. And I really like the fact that, like, when you do approach people, they're cautious of you. They're not like, oh my gosh, savior, help me. I don't know why I'm asking you for help, random stranger on the street, but I have this thing that needs to be killed or whatever. Do this for me. Why? Because I asked you to do so. I don't like, I hate that structure of stuff. Or I kind of hate the fact that, like, your character is the chosen one. Sure, in Gothic they had the same thing, except in there they downplayed a lot, and you really find out mostly towards the end of the game that your character is more or less the chosen one. Except Gothic 2, because obviously Gothic 2 builds off of Gothic 1. But in Gothic 1 you find out pretty much late in the game that you're supposed to be this hero that's like the only one who can save everybody. Or some such. And stuff like that. I'm not gonna tell you save from who, what, or why, and when, but you'll find out for yourself. But anyway, I don't know, I'm just not quite the fan of that universe. And that's why I'm not sure, like, if I ever would want to play Baldur's Gate, because at some point I tried to play the first Baldur's Gate. I never really liked it at all. I don't know, it just didn't sit quite right with me. That's all, pretty much. Anyway, I diverged a little too much from this vlog, so I'm gonna have to call quits for now. And I guess we'll meet again next time when I fix a lot of the issues on my end. If I fix the computer earlier than the moving out or renovations, then I'll try to make some Let's Plays as much as I can. Maybe I'll stack a couple of them so that while moving out, you'll have something to watch. That's usually how I do stuff. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for... I can't say watching because what are you watching here? There's just not sparkles, sorry, there's embers all over the place and stuff like that. And it's looping. And by the way, I designed that myself. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you're gonna have a great day, a great week, a great month, and a great year whenever you're watching this, regardless of time. You know, I don't know why you would want to watch this like a year or two later, but I guess you're welcome. I guess, I don't know. But anyway, I hope everything is going well on your end, and if you're also experiencing a lot of difficult times, you know, nothing is forever. There's ups and downs in life. Right now, we all might be somewhere in the lows of our life, but eventually it's also gonna go up. It's not gonna be down forever. It's a curve. Life is an unending curve, going up and down like a hill. You know, we just need to find willpower and strength within us to get through the lower ends of that curve. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you next time, and later, and maybe in some other video game if you're rewatching one of my Let's Plays. Bye bye!